This is part 2 of working with the 60-inch wide flannel fabrics, or any 60-inch wide fabric for that matter, of measuring it, inventorying it, and getting it stored in a manner that will protect it, keep it as nice as possible until you're ready to use it, and basically be more manageable. Because frankly, right now, my fabric inventory is totally unmanageable. Can't even say the word today. Okay, so previously I talked about having the majority of the fabric to my right, and I'm going to start rolling from my left towards the right, and I'm going to explain why now. The reason for that, and this goes back over 50 years ago, yes, I'm older than dirt, is that when you go from left to right, you are seeing one side of the fabric that's facing up that you can inspect for flaws. And when you're rolling it from your left to your right, now you're seeing the other side. When you work from the fold, that is when you're going to have the fabric go onto the bolt or the board, whatever you're working with, the smoothest. When you try to work from the selvage edge being towards you, you are going to be shifting the fabric all the time because you have two layers, and lots of times one will slide on top of the other or just scooch across or whatever. So at the end, you end up with kind of a V where the two don't line up. And lots of times when people are actually cutting fabric, they don't realize the fabric is shifted, and then they try to just cut that excess off when they have, in essence, messed up the beginning grain line that was most likely left there by the original person that cut the bolt, or where it was cut at in the factory. And so anyway, that's another reason why for this. Now the other reason is when you're looking up here at the selvage edge, there are certain marks you may see, especially when you go to a fabric store. And it's more common on dress goods than it is on quilting cotton, because the quilting cotton is typically printed a very specific way, and the types of flaws that would normally be in 100% cotton gray goods that are going to be printed into fabrics to be used in quilting or that weight of cotton is done in such a manner that the flaws are long worked out, and if they are flawed, you won't see them in the quilting shops that you purchase your fabric from. You might see them available as flat fold goods or remnants when there's a second-hand, I call them second-hand sellers, but they aren't really. What they do is they usually purchase from what's called jobbers. And jobbers will go into mills and purchase up fabric that does not meet top-of-the-line quality standards. And so you will find those fabrics for less. And you just have to be a little bit more careful. I mean, if you're willing to work around flaws and everything, go for it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. They just have other issues that you need to be aware of. And there are times when I will purchase, because that may be all that's available, fabric that I know has a flaw in it, and I will work around it. But you need to look for it. Typically, a mill will go through and they'll do one of three marks. Okay. Typically, there will be either a coarse thread, or that's actually woven into the selvage edge. There can be a string that's been knotted and tied, or there can be a piece of masking tape. That's the most common marks that the mills will do when they know that there's a flaw somewhere in the fabric. That mark needs to be no more than 3/8 of a yard from the mark. So when you see a mark like that, it's not necessarily going to be exactly where the flaw is. It could be 3/8 of a yard one direction or 3/8 of a yard the other direction. So you want to make sure that you check the fabric very carefully to see where that flaw is. And sometimes it's so subtle, you miss it altogether. It could be that there's like a funny loop in the fabric that's been pressed down from it being on the bolt and everything, so you can't see it until you start flicking it, and then all of a sudden you'll see it pop up. So there's all different reasons for flaws in the fabric, but they do not meet the 100% level of goods And so you need to watch for those, especially if you're working with a pattern like this. Let's say that there was a flaw, then you need to allow so many more repeats of the plaid to work on. And let me find it, and I know right where it is in this one bolt because I saw it the other day. Oh, no, it's way down there. I'll get it in the next reel. Thank you.